Okay, so today we're going to be talking about industrial organizational psychology. It's also referred to as IO-Psych, which is probably what I'll talk about in this video a lot. It originated in the early 20th century, about the start of World War I. First, we're going to talk about some key figures. The first key figure we're going to talk about is James Cattell. He was a student of Wilhelm Wundt, and he founded a psychological consulting company which is still in use today, and it's known as the Psychological Corporation. Next, we're going to talk about Hugo Münsterberg. He was also a student of Wilhelm Wundt. He was at the beginning of World War I. He published Psychology and Industrial Efficiency in 1913. This was a book that talked about employee selection, training, and effective advertising. Next, we're going to talk about Walter Dill Scott. He was also a student of Wilhelm Wundt. He was one of the first psychologists to apply psychology to advertising, management, and personnel selection. In 1903, he wrote 2 books, The Theory of Advertising and Psychology of Advertising. They are the first books to describe the use of psychology in the business world. By 1911, he had published 2 more books, which is called Influencing Men in Business and Increasing Human Efficiency in Business. In 1916, a newly formed division in the Carnegie Institute of Technology hired Scott. Next, we're going to talk about Robert Yerkes. So Robert Yerkes organized a group under the Surgeon General's office that developed methods for screening and selecting enlisted men. They developed the Army Alpha Test to measure mental abilities. They also had the Army Beta Test, which was a nonverbal form of the test that was administered to illiterate and non-English speaking draftees. He then organized a group under the Adjutant General's office with the goal to develop selection methods for officers. So they basically created a catalog of occupational needs for the Army. So essentially a job description system and a system of performance ratings and occupational skills tests for officers to look back, and they can go over their performance ratings. Next, we're going to talk about Walter Bingham. So Walter Bingham was hired as the chief psychologist for the War Department, which is now known as the Department of Defense. He developed new systems for job selection, classification, training, ad selection, ad performance review, plus methods for team development, morale change, and attitude change. World War II had a big impact. Concerns about employment test fairness, bias against race and ethnicity, and gender. The last one we're going to talk about is Lillian Gilbreth. She investigated employee fatigue and time management stress. She found that many employees were motivated by money and job satisfaction. Today, she is known as the mother of modern management. Okay, now we're going to talk about IO-Psych and what it looks like today. So there's 3 broad areas of IO-Psych today. There's the industrial side, which is what we're going to talk about first, and then we'll go over the organizational side, and then we will talk about the human factor side. So industrial is concerned with describing job requirements and assessing individuals for their ability to meet those requirements. In addition, once employees are hired, this section studies and develops ways to train, evaluate, and respond to these evaluations. They also deal with the legality regarding discrimination in hiring. Organizational psychology is a discipline interested in how the relationships among employees affect those employees and the performance of a business. So whether or not the employees get along and how that affects it. So this includes worker satisfaction, motivation, commitment. This field also studies management, leadership, organizational culture. It also considers the subjects of harassment, including sexual harassment and workplace violence. The last area that we're going to talk about is human factors psychology. This is the study of how workers interact with the tools of work and how to design those tools to optimize workers' productivity, safety, and health. So it could be as straightforward as the fit of a desk, a chair, and computer to a human having to sit on the chair at the desk using the computer for several hours each day. In Europe, this field is referred to as ergonomics. Some questions that IO-Psych addresses and answers is what makes people happy at work, what motivates employees at work, what types of leadership styles result in better performance of employees, who are the best applicants to hire for a job. Those are all important questions that businesses need, and IO-Psych helps to answer those questions. The hallmark of IO psychology is its basis in data and evidence to answer such questions. They are based on the scientist-practitioner model. So really, it just goes with job analysis, develop employee selection systems, design performance appraisal systems, things like that. Lastly, we're going to go over how it differs from other areas. So you would think that IO-Psych would be the same as how we are at home. Well, we behave differently at work. There's a hierarchy at work to which we behave. When we're at work, we're seeking fulfillment and remain active, but we're also there to receive a paycheck and satisfy our financial needs. So we may stay at a job even if we don't like it, which is very interesting to see how motivation applies in this business. We spend a large portion of our waking hours at work. How happy we are with our jobs and our career is a primary predictor of how happy and content we are with our lives in general. IO-Psych has much to offer to individuals and organizations interested in increasing employee productivity, retention, effectiveness, while at the same time ensuring that employees are happy and healthy. It also uncovers the secret of a happy workplace, which is where we're going to end. This includes need satisfaction, making sure that employees' basic needs are met. Meaningful engagement provides a challenge and is meaningful to the people that work there. And stress. Work is a major source of stress. Make stress manageable by ensuring that work does not overly interfere with personal life. When you include these parts in your business, you will see a direct benefit when designed around how IO-Psych has come to be. Your employees are going to be happier, they're going to be motivated, their well-being is going to be better, they're going to be effective, and they're going to retain more. And that's it today. Thank you.